Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. And it is a big week here in the nation's capital. The annual Congressional Black Caucus Legislative Conference kicks off. It is billed as the nation's leading public policy conference. This year's annual conference plans to offer 100 in-person forums that will bring together lawmakers, business leaders, celebrities, concerned citizens, and others to discuss issues that impact Black communities, including education, economic development, voting rights, civic engagements, as well as social and environmental justice. To cap off the week, President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris will deliver a tag team address at the Phoenix Awards dinner hosted by the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation at its 51st annual leadership conference. That will happen on October 1st. Vice President Harris will be the first of the duo to address the expected crowd of 3,000, including her former colleagues on Capitol Hill and fellow members of the CBC, who she closely worked with as a former United States Senator from the state of California. The Vice President is expected to touch on hot-button topics like abortion and the importance of maintaining American democracy. Also, and following tradition, the National Newspaper Publishers Association will host its Leadership Awards reception on Thursday night with Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, Bishop William Barber, James Winston of Mabob, and Tennessee State University President Dr. Glenda Glover, each receiving honors, and Grammy winner Chrisette Michelle for providing the entertainment. Lots going on. Let's start by bringing on and welcoming back to Let It Be Known the President and CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey. And on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, so glad to be back on Let It Be Known. This is another historic week that God has made. We thank God. We continue to celebrate the 195th anniversary of the Black Press. And certainly we join with the CBC this week and all of the programs that we have planned. And thanks for giving a shout out to our leadership awards reception on Thursday night at the Marriott Marquis. Great lineup. And thank you for this morning's show.
Absolutely. And Dr. Chavis, we have some other news that we're going to bring a little bit later that centers around you, the godfather, the grandfather of the environmental justice movement. We're going to talk about that later this morning. But first, coming up in just a few days is the HBCU Entrepreneurship Conference. We talk now with Johnetta Hardy, the Executive Director of the Bowie Entrepreneurship Innovation Center. Good morning, Johnetta.
Good morning, Stacey. Dr. Chavis, an honor.
Good morning.
Good
Thank
morning.
You for all the work that you do, Johnetta. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And it as our president of Bowie State University always says, it takes a team, the dream team. takes a team and a village.
Well, Johnetta Hardy, talk to us a little bit.
And it's Hardy.
Okay, well, there you go. Can you talk to us a little bit about the upcoming Entrepreneurship Conference? What to expect is going to be at Bowie State. We do know that.
Well, first of all, again, I'm excited to be here to talk about my passion, which is entrepreneurship. But we're excited. Bowie State University is excited to host this is our second annual HBCU Entrepreneurship Conference, hosted by Bowie State University and presented by Truez. And because of their generous donation, registration is free for this virtual conference. It is one day, but we got a lot packed into that day. The conference, it's a great opportunity to share, to use as a platform for HBCUs, to share best practices, but more importantly, to showcase and demonstrate that HBCUs, all the great work that we do and the talent that we produce to help build an ecosystem that can help economic development within our community, and how entrepreneurship plays an important role, and how we have always been sustainable, and how entrepreneurship, and to show that, and how HBCUs are the perfect vehicle to do that with.
Well, certainly Dr. Chavis is an HBCU alum himself, among other schools. He's
me as well. Shout out to HBCUs.
Doc, I know this conference is probably something that you are excited about, have some insight into as well. with Johnetta Hardy. So I'll bring you in on the conversation as well.
Well, thank you very much. And we salute Johnetta and all of her team there at Bowie State University. Bowie State is one of our leading HBCUs. And for the second annual Entrepreneurship Conference, it's so important. So we encourage all of our listeners, all of our viewers to tune in. It's virtual. So,
yes, it is virtual. And it's free. Did we mention that?
Free, virtual. And the future, everybody's talking about the U.S. economy. The truth is, to the extent to which we get more Black-owned businesses, the extent to which we get more of our young people, our millennials and Generation Z, in the pathway to become successful entrepreneurs, is the extent to which we can gain greater wealth in our community, get our community out of poverty, and really improve the overall quality of life. Entrepreneurship is a key factor in the future of Black America.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Johnetta, can you talk about how HBCUs have always been critical in creating a safe space for students to pursue entrepreneurial efforts?
Oh, absolutely. HBCUs have been at the forefront of producing great talent. And, our students have always been entrepreneurial. They've had to be in order to sustain, to be able to go to school. And they've had that side hustle. But now we're trying to introduce more of a format to them so that side hustle can be a real opportunity to help grow their communities and sustain their families as well. And during the pandemic, there were over 500,000 businesses created as a result. And so entrepreneurship is definitely needed. We need to talk about it and how we can continue to build it and how our HBCUs can continue to be those leaders and continue to produce the great talent that they do.
Yeah, and speaking of great talent, some of that talent includes Sean Puffy Combs, Oprah Winfrey, Charles Graves of Black Enterprise Magazine.
Tom Joyner.
Uh-oh.
There you go. Gladys Knight, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
We've got some great HBCU graduates, and we're gonna showcase some of those. By the way, at the conference we've got 32 sessions. We've packed 2 days into one day, so you don't want to miss this game-changing.
Wow, into one day.
It's 1 day. We've got 4 tracks, a lot of great information for folks who want to support HBCUs, educators, administrators, business leaders, entrepreneurs. Students. So lots of great information within these 4 tracks. STEM, HBCUs are producing some great students that are doing some great work in cybersecurity. And here at Bowie State University, our cybersecurity, we have certificates. We have a whole department created around it in computer science. So we want to also focus on those as well, because we're doing some great work in that space as well.
Yeah, so, and you're also going to have a session where you're talking about some of the big names that have come out of HBCU. So many, like you said, but there will be a session of HBCU celebrity entrepreneurs, including Wendy Raquel Robinson. She's a Howard University graduate. People probably remember her from the Steve Harvey Show. DJ Envy, he graduated Hampton. Of course, DJ Envy has played a role in the Chevy and the NMPA's Discover the Unexpected. Of course, there is also Kim Whitley and others. Talk about that session a little bit.
Well, I'm excited about that session because, our community, we are a celebrity influence community. And we wanted to demonstrate to our viewers that will be watching that, hey, these are some of the talents that and we're putting their photos up to date. These are some of the great talents that the university has produced, but also this has been a journey for them. They didn't start out being who they are. They stood on somebody's shoulders, and how HBCUs were there to nurture them, to put them in an environment, a great headspace to go out there and want to take action and be persistent at what they do.
Yeah, and talk about, if you will, the Black women. They're the fastest growing segment.
The fastest growing minority. Absolutely. And at our conference next year, we will have a separate track just for them because they are needed. And you're right, Stacey, they are the fastest growing minority community, and how more resources need to be poured into developing that community because they are out here doing it. They are killing it.
They're killing
But they
it.
can't do it without the funds and the support, the mentoring and nurturing. I know Jennifer, is it Jennifer Lopez J-Lo just invested. She just partnered with a bank for the Hispanic community. $50 million is what they're going to, is it 50 million? I think $50 million is what they're pouring in. We need some champions like that to do that for our Black community as well. Our women, as well as just the community itself, because that is critical to business startup, in addition to the mentoring and coaching that is needed to continue to build up those entrepreneurial efforts.
Yeah, and Jonetta's social justice is always at the forefront of our minds, especially the last few years, given what's happened. Is social justice, what role does that play, social justice, in entrepreneurship?
Well, let me say this. As a result of all of unfortunately, the police brutality that has come in the last let's just say since we were brought over from America. But particularly, it has taken notice, it has taken, unfortunately, people's deaths and social media to capture that, the brutality that has really brought social justice more into the forefront. But more people are creating business opportunities to build that awareness, to create opportunities to stop this from continuing to happen. So the social media has been critical in terms of really shedding light on what is going on out there. And as a result of that, it's creating many opportunities for people to build sustainable businesses and to be able to help shed light, as well as to do something, to take action. And that's what that's all about.
Now,
and by the way, Bowie has a great social alliance program. We had a summit just recently. So you got to make sure you catch that next year and go to our website to check that out as well.
All right. And we talked about the Bowie Entrepreneurship Innovation Center. Can you tell us a little bit more about this one-of-a-kind center?
Well, we're the only HBCU that has an entrepreneurship living learning community. And I'm going to back up for a second, because none of this would be possible without the administration. And our president, Dr. Aminta H. Bro, came into Bowie State University 5 years ago with a vision. She's always been about student success, building our students' mindset. And she believes in entrepreneurship so much that she's added it to her strategic plan. And as a result of that, we've got a brand new entrepreneurship living and learning building. And like I said, we're the only HBCU to have that. And that's 176,000 square feet at the corner of 197, lights up. It's a hub for entrepreneurship and resources for our Bowie State University folks, but also the community, and in that we've got residential space, we've got retail space, and it's also our new home. But also in our new home, we have makerspace, venture labs. We have with only HBCU to have an accelerator program. Yeah. We also have the Women's Business Center, and also the Maryland Small Business Development Center as well. But it is a great space to continue to build on that entrepreneurial mindset. And our president wants every student that matriculates through Bowie State University to be exposed to the entrepreneurial mindset, so much that we're now in freshman seminar. So every student that comes into Bowie State University is being exposed to that mindset. And it's great if they launch businesses along the way, but she wants to make sure that they have that mindset. So when they go out there, they can be agile, adaptable, and they can learn how to find opportunities and be of value to other humans and help them solve their pain point.
Yeah, I love your enthusiasm about this. That's for sure. It really shines through.
Thank you.
So many students and corporate types, Johnetta, are realizing that entrepreneurship is a way to build and create generational wealth. Can you speak to that a little bit and encourage that?
Absolutely. When you have your own and you're able to hire your own people, and you're able to contribute to the environment around you, you are not only building wealth for yourself, but also for the community. And that is so important. And HBCUs are in geographically unique spaces where they are. Most of them, and the majority of them, are in underserved communities. And it's a great opportunity to help build that community, not just with our talent that we're producing, but also with businesses.
Mm. Yeah, we're talking with Johnetta Hardy. Johnetta, so again, who is this conference for? Do you have to be affiliated with an HBCU?
Absolutely
HBCUs?
not. Absolutely not. This conference, as I mentioned earlier, it's not just for educators, but it's also for entrepreneurs, business leaders, anybody that's interested in understanding the entrepreneurial mindset, how to launch a business. Come and be motivated, inspired, ready to take action, whether you create a business or whether you say, you know what, let me see what I can do to support an HBCU, or, how can I, as a business leader, get involved?
Hmm. Well, tell us how we can get involved. How can we attend this conference? Is there a website? Tell us.
Absolutely. I'm going to mention this again. It's free. This year, it's free and it's virtual. You got no excuse for not coming. Okay. If you go to HBCUEshipconference.com, you can register. You cannot, and it's all virtual. You cannot attend. You cannot log on unless you are registered. You don't have to come for the whole day. Come for a couple of sessions and invite your network, people you think will be inspired and motivated. And if you happen to not be able to be there, it will be pre-recorded. So, but you can't get to that recording unless you register. So register, be there, take advantage of all this great information at this game-changing conference.
It's HBCUEshipconference.com. So nobody says it better than Johnetta Hardy. Amazing, amazing. I love the enthusiasm. Let's bring Dr. Chavis back. So for some closing thoughts with you on this particular topic, Dr. Chavis.
Well, it's a great conference that has been planned, and we encourage everyone to participate. It's free, it's virtual. Go to the website and register. And Johnetta, please know that the Black Press of America, we support you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And again, it's an honor to be in the same presence with you, Dr. Chase. I went to, well, anyway, but it's an honor. I studied journalism. I started out in that space at an HBCU. I graduated undergrad and grad from Howard University. I know how important HBCUs are in nurturing that mind and providing that great talent. And so, but you have always been a hero to me. So thank you so much for all the great work you're continuing to do, sir.
Thank you very much.
And I'm so happy to be at Bowie State University because we are at the forefront of entrepreneurship. And we're just happy to be in a position to be able to share and host this wonderful game-changing event. So I hope everybody can sign up and collaborate with other conferences so that we can partner and continue to collaborate and build on our the entrepreneurial mindset and helping our African-American folks start businesses and creating that wealth, that generation wealth, as you talked about, Stacey.
Absolutely. Johnetta Bozeman Hardy, the Executive Director of the Bowie Entrepreneurship Innovation Center. We thank you for joining. Let it be known. Our pleasure. And so we turn our attention to some North Carolina. Let's talk about North Carolina. And Dr. Chavis, 40 years ago, was involved in a protest that really changed the way everyone looked at environmental racism, as he coined the term, environmental justice as well, celebrating 40 years. But a lot happened. Let's take a look first at this video.
When I first coined the term environmental racism, our communities were being targeted. It wasn't by coincidence. It wasn't just because of poverty. It was because of race, where communities of color were being deliberately targeting for toxic waste and hazardous waste facilities. Now we find out that environmental racism is just not in America, it's all over the world. But we're here today to talk about the solutions. I've introduced a lot of people in my career. I'm honored. I'm so honored that President Joseph Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris had the good sense to put a brother over the Environmental Protection Agency that is not just a figurehead. You know, sometimes some of us get a little position, we forget where we come from. You know, act like we have no tradition. This brother not only represents historically black colleges and universities, he represents a community in Goldsboro, North Carolina, a community in Wayne County, North Carolina, that has had a history like Warren County of standing up, fighting for freedom, justice, and equality. I'm honored, and I want the whole world, I know the media is here, but thank God that we got a freedom fighter at the Environmental Protection Agency. Thank God that Michael Regan is the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency at a time when we're going to not only connect civil rights and environmental justice, but provide solutions to all of the problems that we face in this nation and around the world. Administrator Michael Regan.
Wow.
You know, as a proud son of North Carolina, I was born and raised, and I was just a child when the state decided to site the PCB landfill in the backyard of a predominantly black community. But I remember my parents discussing the heroism of the women and men who locked arms and laid down in front of those trucks carrying that laced dirt with PCBs. Women and men like Dolly Burwell, Ben Chavis, Reverend Bill Kearney, EPA's own Charles Lee joined protesters in solidarity. A Washington Post story at the time quoted Reverend Luther Brown, a pastor of the largest black congregation in the area, and he said, "We know why they picked us. It's because we're a poor county, poor politically, poor in health, poor in education, and because it's mostly black." So from Justice 40 to the bipartisan infrastructure law to the historic Inflation Reduction Act, we are finally ensuring that communities who have long borne the burden of pollution see, breathe, and feel the benefits of the federal government's investments. It's about changing. So if we're going to change how the system works, we have to change the structure of the system. And that's exactly what we're going to do. I could not be prouder to announce that today EPA is creating a new national office charged with advancing environmental justice and external civil rights.
So Dr. Chavis, with that type of introduction, somebody better be bringing something. And Michael Regan did not let you down, did he?
Absolutely. We're so grateful and thankful to witness this historic event, which took place. We were standing in front of the courthouse in Warren County. Across the street is where I went to jail with other over 500 people 40 years ago. And that's where I coined the term environmental racism. But more importantly, what happened this weekend in Warren County, Administrator Reagan announced $3 billion, with a B, $billion for environmental justice and external civil rights. That's never happened before in the history of America. A lot of communities now are going to get relief, like Jackson, Mississippi, like Flint, Michigan, in Warren County. All these communities across the United States, black and brown in particular, are going to get relief. We also had a large Native American community represented at the signing of the establishment of the Office of Environmental Justice and External Civil Rights. So it was another great day in the history. I'm so glad that the Black press was there, and I had an opportunity to introduce our young freedom-fighting administrator of the EPA, Michael Regan.
Yeah, Dr. Chavis, everyone knows Dr. Chavis's long fight for civil rights, his fight for environmental justice. We know as a member of the Wilmington 10, unjustly incarcerated, a political prisoner for almost a decade. But Dr. Chavis, when you went to Warren County, you was not trying to go back to jail, but it was interesting. You went to this protest, but tell everyone who don't know why you were arrested this time.
Well, obviously, the state of North Carolina, the police in that instance, they didn't want me to continue to organize. So as people was laying down in front of the trucks and being arrested, I went and I was going to bail them out of jail. And the state police pulled me over and charged me with driving too slow.
Driving too slow.
Me and Jazz, first time I've ever been arrested. I think most people were arrested for driving too slow in the state of North Carolina at Warren County, right where we were demonstrating. So I spent the night in jail. in Warren County 40 years ago, contemplating on what our next moves were. And that's when I coined the term environmental racism. So, I look back on those times, as I said in my introductory remarks of Michael Regan, we have to learn from the past, not necessarily repeat it, we have to learn from it. And what we've learned over the last 50, 60, over the last 100 years is that freedom is a constant struggle. I'm so proud of the Black press, been 105 years this year. We're keeping pushing and we get ready to go into CBC this week, Stacey. We're very proud of the legacy, but we have to continue now. And plus, I want to end on this point. We have to raise up a new generation of freedom fighters. Millennials, Generation Z. I'm so proud of Black youth. If you'd have seen the crowd in Warren County this past weekend, Stacey, you've been very pleased to see hundreds of young people who are now environmental justice activists, who are now civil rights activists, and also who are now Black journalists coming up in the tradition of all of our member publishers that started the NMPA years ago.
Well, I was also with you, Dr. Chavis, recently at Duke University, one of your alma maters. And again, you guys did a tremendous job. You were leading panels there. You had a great talk at the chapel there. And again, as you said, all of these young people, it was amazing to have them come up and really want to talk with you, want to get insights from you, want to learn from you and understand, what happened 40 years ago. And it was just a sight to see. We wrote about it. You can read about it in many of our newspapers at the NMPA, Black Press USA as well. But Doc, what a month really that was put together there at Duke and Warren County and there with the administrator. Dr. Chavis, you have to be optimistic now about the movement.
Oh, absolutely. I'm definitely optimistic and I'm very encouraged. And I want all of our viewers to know that the civil rights movement is still alive, that the environmental justice movement is growing and expanding, the climate justice movement is growing and expanding. The Black press has resilience. I'm so proud of the Black press, Stacey. And what you do every morning, Monday through Friday on Let It Be Known, is also an advance of getting out the news, but also bringing celebrities, bringing leaders, bringing change makers on Let It Be Known. I think it's so important. So thank you for the salute. Thank you for the shout out. And now we got to roll up our sleeves as I end most of my speeches lately. We got work to do.
We got work to do. And we should also mention the 14th annual Black Women's Roundtable Policy Forum series at the CBCF annual legislative conference this Wednesday. They're going to be talking about leveraging the power of Black women in the 2022 midterm election cycle, fighting for our rights, freedom, safety, justice, and democracy, led by Felicia Davis. Felicia Davis, of course, is the director of the HBCU Green Fund. So look out for that as well. The Black Women's Roundtable Policy Forum this week during this major week in the nation's capital. Good to be with Dr. Chavis again. Good to see you all. And thank you for joining Let It Be Known. We will see you tomorrow.